Hey, what's up, guys? So this is the first trial in season 11, and I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I'm going against the guy ranked number 2 for Super Troopers. This is the lineup of everybody, and I've gone against Genesis. I know at least once, but maybe twice, so that could happen. And I think I went against Sergeant Anakin before. But let's just take a look at the stats here. So my opponent is 160 mil, well over 5.4 mil STP, and here are my stats. So this is what I decided to run on defense, and this room 1 is a zero concept where he's thinking that you take a team that can take a beating, that will be the 4 out of time, and then when they get a chance to go, they would hit back much harder. So maybe that happens with Dorm. The problem that I saw when Updog did it in his video with this team on offense is that they end up dying, and so when they come back, they don't have the vulnerables. So we'll see how this works out. It's a thought, and hopefully, they still take like a superior 6 in there. That would be the pull, or something pretty strong like that. I tested just before, maybe 30 minutes before this trial started, with Strange, OD Strange in here with the Orchis team. It seems to test well, so we'll see how it works, because Strange can revive, and he can revive more than one. So we'll see if that turns out to be a challenge. But I think Cabal still rips it up. So if they go in normal like Cabal, then that will be the plan there. So with the Alpha Flight and Void Knight, I think the main counter will probably still be Spider Society. But if not, I think the other teams may struggle a bit, so we'll see how that goes. And so that left just going ahead with Secret Defenders New War in 4. There's a lot of advantages with the blinds, especially with Photon's passive, so we'll see how that works out. And just going with this Updog suggestion for Room 5, we're going to see if Absorber Man can make this just a little bit more difficult. And so Room 6 is a zero concept where you have Skrull with Ares and Tangle Web, and then Zug's having the stat rework, and then of course they have the season rules on dying. That is, this could make this room a little bit tougher, because Skrull will probably just start going off immediately, and that's the plan. If they're blinded, that it makes this room a challenge. And so this is my opponent has on defense. I think all of his rooms are pretty tough, and so we'll see how it goes. I sat back and had some discussion with some people, mostly Updog, on what to try to use here, and we're just both kind of not sure. So what I decided what I may go with is Superior 6 and 1 with Vulture. I think the Mercs with Zemo can end up taking out Room 2, but it might not be that efficient. So we'll see if Zemo is the answer, but I think it will be Zemo, just so they can get that speed. Now, how do I control the doom? May come down to like Deadpool or docking, possibly. We'll see. I have to look at the kits real good, see if I can block them. I think Deadpool does. And so this Orchis Mephisto, my first thought is, because I've tested the Night Stalker so much against Orchis, that I have to go in with Night Stalker's Mephisto. And so, because both teams will get exhausted, so we'll see how that plays out. Room 4 is going to be tricky, but I do have Illuminati on offense, so I thought to mirror it. And I said, well, if I pull Black Bolt, then maybe I can use Apoc, and that gives me an advantage. So that's my first thought, and that may be what I try first on that, of course, with Odin. And so with Room 5, I didn't want to mirror it because my Night Stalkers aren't nearly as big as his. And so my thought is Cabal with Ultimus and Kang. Hopefully that does it. But if it doesn't, then I still have Spider Society. So maybe Spider Society can clean it up. As well as I still would have New Warriors if it takes 3 hits. So hopefully it doesn't. And so Room 6, I have Annihilators. So my first thought is maybe Annihilators with Big Time. I have a pretty big time. So maybe he can take that hit from the Black Knight and not get into the red. And then I think that gives me a chance for Annihilators to just kind of take over, because Gladiator would be taunting, and so I don't know that the rest of the Annihilators are probably pretty strong enough to take the hits from Black Knight. So the title of this video is Always Go with Your First Mind, and we're going to go through the attacks. You'll see why. This was the original plan, to go in with the Superior 6 Vulture on this team, and you can see that it's just pretty much the same as what we would normally do. I think trying to buff Rogue and make her health more would have probably ended with the same result as a one-shot, but a much lower efficiency, and this is still not a great efficiency. So ideally, I mean, what he did here is still a decent team to put in the room, the Extreme Rogue with Dorm, but you can see that it's just playing as normal. I think we all have our Superior 6 built up pretty well, so it's not like it's the outcome is in doubt. It's just that we have to kill him twice. I think that for this season, it may be more of an advantage to use Dorm somewhere else, either in another room or on offense, because you can make your X-Men stronger, and you can try to have make better use of Absorber Man or Titania, or even Morgan Le Fay. And I think that's all about trying to make Rogue as strong as you can with her health. And that could possibly give you the same type of results as here, if not better, if you're trying to seek efficiency. So it's just something to think about. Once again, this is not a bad idea to put the Extreme Rogue with Dorm in here. I just think that you can get better value with Dorm somewhere else and taking advantage of the room rules on this one. So now, when it comes to this counter, I did plan to go in with this team, and it worked. The thing is, I wasn't sure how to play it, so you don't have much choice but to go into the Gladiator, as I did. The thing that happened is Panda Pool really takes a long time to get to his ult, and I think that is what kind of changed things up. So as you see here, I'm not going to have much choice but to go into the Gladiator with Old Man Logan to get a special going, because you have to make sure he revives or it's kind of countered over. And fortunately, the Doom was not low enough to get pushed, although I don't know that it would have made a huge difference as long as the attack didn't kill Old Man Logan twice, because he had I guess he has 2 revives up. So once he's able to go with his ult, it's pretty much over. Fortunately, the Doom does die, and then this counter can work as normal. So for the most part, I think Doom is not a good addition to this trio with Skrull. Perhaps the Dorm would have been better, or even Strange for that matter, just to kind of mix it up. But as you can see here, Doom, the idea behind it, I get it, but he was not able to make much use of Doom in this particular sequence here. So this was not the original plan. I was swayed from my original thought to take the Night Stalkers in with Mephisto on this team. And we'll get into that a little bit later in the video. I don't think this is a terrible idea. I just think the other one was a much better idea. As you can see, this didn't work. But I think there were a couple misplays. One in particular is when Mephisto had a chance to, right there, hit the other Mephisto. The strategy was, at that time, the advice given was to hit the Scientist Supreme, which you see did no damage. And I think had I hit the Mephisto, I would have had a chance to kill the Mephisto with that Pavs move right there. Unfortunately, I didn't. And so that kind of killed the chances for this counter. The recovery attempt was good. The move with Peter was well played. And then Pav again. I think the penny move, and that was my mistake, I tried to go in here, more so for the damage, but that didn't work. I think Sammy made the mistake of assuming that I was trying to stun the Mephisto, but I wasn't. I was trying to kill Mephisto. I thought I was pretty clear on that, because I felt like that was my only chance to kill Mephisto. And as you can see, in a second here, because there's no Kestrel, the bots are going to come down, and that's pretty much when game is over, because once the bots come down, you don't have a chance to get back to Mephisto, and the Spider Society is on their last leg and they're falling apart. So the only chance was just to try to pull Mephisto's ult and then try to go in again. Perhaps another sack would have done it, but my thought was like, hey, Cabal could maybe try to work. Cabal, when I went in with the Kang didn't crit for whatever reason, and so Cabal didn't take off, so I was not able to clean this up, because there would have been a chance to salvage this trial one, had that taken place. So this is something for you guys to consider, to learn from. I don't think my selection of a defense allowed me a real chance to win this anyway. So I'm not going to get too bent out of shape about it, but it's just to let you know that I think that when it comes to what we're looking at for defense, you really want to take in mind everybody that you see as a content creator, what they're putting in this room, meaning the raid room, and allowing yourself the opportunity to counter, which I think for the most part, the Alpha Flight seems to be a counter to this. And so we can probably see that the Night Stalkers may would work here as well, but you want to keep in mind that Mephisto on Mephisto is tricky. And so if at all possible, you may want to make sure you have your Odin to counter Mephisto. And if the guy has Odin and Mephisto on offense, then you're going to have to just try to plan, I think, to go into double sack this room, one of the two rooms, and just hope that you have enough defense, he doesn't have enough offense, that you can still win that way. Otherwise, I think trying to one-shot is kind of a risky move and not the best thing to do. And so you see here, this is where the guys were adamant that Mephisto could beat the Odin, which you can see it didn't. And this is my original thought, was like, hey, Apoc can make a difference. And I think the guys felt like Apoc wouldn't make a difference, but I think Sham still helped talk me through this. And at the end of the day, this counter does work. The key thing, I think, in all the plays here is you go after Mephisto as long as you can, and right there is where you want to stun your opponent's Captain Britain, and that allows you to keep your focus on the Odin. Now, when I go back in with Shuri, I think on Odin, I think that's where Shan was saying maybe hit the Hank. But at the end of the day, I don't know that it matters a whole lot, because you can see my Illuminati has their momentum. My Odin has already started doing what he needs to do, and his Illuminati is starting to fall apart. So this is going to be a clear. It just is a matter of would it have been a one-shot or a double tap. And so fortunately, it only takes one hit with this particular counter, and you can get it done. His Captain Britain is smaller than mine, but I don't know that that would have made a huge difference, because I think at the end of the day, a one diamond on a one diamond, the Captain Britain would have still been stunned. And so you can see here, Captain Britain just takes out that Captain Britain, which I think would have been the same thing. As long as you have a Raider, I think, on your Odin, and a Striker on your Captain Britain. So in this particular counter, I think me and Zero had really discussed that this would win, but I think Sham just wanted to prove that it could be a 600k punch-up could get done. And that's fine, because it's a good walkthrough on his approach to beating this. I don't know that I would do it this way, but his way did work. And so I think it's good for you guys to see it, so you can see some options on how you might want to go about this. I think when he stuns the Agatha, I would still have used the ult. I've tested this so much that the Agatha ult, I think, would have wiped out that Agatha, and at that point, and probably the Blade. But it's here nor there, because I think either move you win. This is a punch-up, this is a 600k punch-up, so perhaps that was a safer play to make sure you get it done, but I think you get it done either way. And so I will try it the other way today, because I am facing another Night Stalkers in the same room. And so here, I didn't have much left, and I said, well, let's just try Annihilators. I figured this was over, because Dorky was saying maybe Annihilators would be really good in room 6 for offense. I'm like, well, let's just try it and see. And so, as you can see here, the Void Knight hits pretty hard. And so it doesn't take long for this team to drop into the red. So I would say don't bank on the full Annihilators to be good in here on offense. You may be able to come up with a comp and make them useful. But as you can see here, they're getting wiped out. So I was just trying to just exhaust them, do what I can as damage, and then it was like you're just going to clean it up. Fortunately, the Thanos did take out Black Knight, so that will make it easier as the Hive Mind had done all their oaths, and so there was not much of a threat left. And so my original thought was to use Cabal, Kang, and Ultimus on the Night Stalkers. And I want you guys to take a look at the Sears video because he made light work of it with Cabal on the Night Stalkers, so that counter will work as well.